A smattering of freckles spilled across the nose and cheeks or sprinkled along one's arms or shoulders can add an extra layer of beauty and individuality to a person. Some people are even adding extra fake freckles to their faces just for the fun of it. For those who have freckles, sometimes called angel kisses, skincare and cosmetic rituals can involve a different approach than most because they do have their own unique quirks. Here's what you might not know about freckles. Famous faces. There are a lot of Hollywood stars who are proud to rock their freckles during close-ups. Emma Stone, for example, once said that while she used to hate her freckles and try to cover them up with makeup in her younger years, she grew to embrace her face and even wants more. And Demi Lovato, heralded queen of makeup-free selfies on Instagram, has touted her speckled skin with a smirk to declare to the world that yes, freckles are totally in. But there are some celebs who've had more of a love-hate relationship with their genetic gift. Oscar-winning actress Julianne Moore even penned a children's book with the main character named Freckle-Faced Strawberry as a wink to her own childhood nickname. And, much like her fictional character, she was a kid who tried to get rid of her freckles. Moore explained, "I wrote the book about this little girl trying to get rid of her freckles. I still have mine and I still don't like them, but I have other things to worry about. I care about it less." Sunspots, they're not. The topics of freckles and sunspots are often discussed interchangeably.
I'll always remember that summer because it's when I got all these freckles.
The fact of the matter is, though, that there's a big difference between the two dermatological concepts. Experts say that true freckles are actually the result of increased levels of melanin in melanocytes, while age spots, or lentigos, are those marks that come to the surface later in life as the result of UV damage. In other words, maybe she's born with it, maybe it's lack of sunscreen. Common denominator. While freckles are definitely found on men and women with all sorts of complexions, they tend to pop up more often in people with lighter colored skin and hair. In fact, there's a genetic link between people born with red hair and freckles to skin cancer, as studies prove that having an allele, a gene variant that produces the so-called ginger look, is directly tied to cancer-causing genetic mutations. Which means women who do have freckles have to be especially careful about using SPF protection when spending time under the sun. Spot treatment. Remember Freckle Juice, the short story by Judy Blume? It tells the tale of a second-grade student who wants freckles so bad that he tries a recipe to get them. Well, there might not be such a thing in real life, but there are ways for those who don't want their freckles to change their look. Instead of a liquid fix, freckles are removable by way of laser treatments, chemical peels, and other medical lightening agents, but those procedures can be costly and time-consuming. Avoiding the development of new freckles, however, involves a much simpler and more affordable technique, a generous application of sunscreen. That's also just smart skincare advice, freckles or no. Cosmetic caution. For a temporary cover-up option, freckles can be concealed through the magic of makeup. But there's a catch. Makeup artists don't recommend full-coverage foundation for freckle bearers, but instead suggest a tinted moisturizer in a shade that's slightly darker than the normal skin tone, because it'll blend the color of those freckles with the shade of your skin.
The more you know. Are you gonna put that jingle in?
Put the jingle in.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there's pretty much no limit to what other types of makeup can be used by those with freckles, so don't be shy about reaching for those crazy shades of eyeshadow or rouge. There's no hard and fast rule about what shades of color will work with freckled skin. Dare to be bold. Thanks for watching. Click the list icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.